Hey everybody, it's Caleb here. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. It is a cloudy white day over here up in Canada, but I mean it's bright still, even though there's no sun. You know, it's like no blue skies, but everything's white. So you got white, white snow everywhere, and a white sky. So hence the shades, I guess, so I can see. But my goodness, do we have some developments going on in the world right now? Obviously, we got the oil crisis still going on there in the Strait of Hormuz. And just recently, the UN, get this, the UN stated that they could run out of money by July 2026. United Nations, they're running out of money because, you know, all the contributing countries aren't actually paying up their bills and their dues. And they're saying, hey, we don't have the cash to keep doing what we want to do. And now, does that mean, like, could you imagine a world where the UN is dissolved? I mean, some people might say that's a good thing. Other people might say no. That's not my world of expertise. But I'm sure some of you there in the comments could probably say your 2 cents and let us know. But let us know what you think. But I mean, it's not like the UN collapsing, even a full collapse. I don't think they're going to fully collapse. Money's going to come in, governments print whatever, they call it the capital call, like everybody, you know, needs to contribute something, right? But if they do, I mean, that kind of sets the stage for the world, right? Everything's a little uncertain. You got to finance, like the UN is having a financial collapse. I wonder what solutions could be implemented to bring more liquidity to all these countries, to supply the UN with some money to keep them afloat, and all the rest of the countries that are going through hardship right now. Is there something that we know about? I mean, it's just a perfect setup for XRP. It's a perfect setup for XRP to be used for their, you know, liquidity and cross-border payments and everything that XRP is designed to do, right? So I don't think it'll be a flip of the switch. We've heard that term a lot in crypto, especially in the XRP community and XRP army, right? We're more of an XRP family now, I think, since we won the lawsuit. But I don't think it'll be a flipping of the switch. I don't actually necessarily think there will be a flipping of the switch. One thing, there's a lot of catalysts that kind of come into play. It's more, I think the appreciation of this asset is going to be more of a slow cooker. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to take forever to get there. I think we're going to see some major price appreciation come this next maybe, I don't know, 12 to 18 months probably. That's my guess. But you know, not financial advice. That's just my 2 cents. That's just kind of my hunch. And I have that hunch because like, I mean, we've been in a bear market for over a year and a bit, right? Depending, you know, where you classify the top, and we're kind of right on the cusp of seeing where the lows are for this bear market. And it's kind of like when I was traveling through the mountains, that, you know, you see 2 massive mountain peaks, right? And you'll have a tippy top mountain, and it comes all the way down to a valley, and then another mountain comes up, right? And you see this especially when there's, like, let's say there's like a lake in between these 2 mountain tops. Actually, this is a sort of interesting. I studied theology for a little while, and there's a term between you know, Calvinists and Arminius, and this is like, you know, the sovereignty of God, and, you know, he's you know, man's free will, right? So is God in control and controlling everything, or like, where's the balance between God's sovereignty and His will happen and man's free will, right? And there's these 2 mountaintops that are clear, because in the world of theology, there's these 2 mountaintops that are both true, and they meet somewhere. There's somewhere down in this lake. It goes so far down that you don't know where they actually meet. So I was thinking about that for this bear market that we're in, or coming out of, rather, I should say, I believe. But it's where's that bottom? Where's that true bottom? We're all trying to figure that one out, right? So you have people like Blockchain Backer. He's got 50%. He's a TA guy. He's got 50% of his capital back into the market because, you know, he's just not totally sure the bottom's in, but he's just sort of entering into the market again, right? So he's entering into the market. You got other analysts that are entering into the market, different guys like Coinskate. He's a good TA guy to watch, right? But I think we're not going to have to wait too long before we see all these things happen. But back to my point of it's a bit of a slow cooker. I think XRP is a bit of a, like, it's a soup, right? You have all these ingredients that are being added to it, right? Clarity Act coming out. You know, you got Ripple just acquiring businesses left, right, and center and growing their company, right? And have a national charter bank and all that jazz. So all these little things that are coming together to, I think, eventually cause the price to just absolutely skyrocket. Like, there are some people out there that think XRP is not even going to go to double digits, but rather just shoot right past it. So, maybe it jumps to $6, and you're not really going to see too much hangout in the double digits. It's going to go straight to 3 or 4. I would love for that to happen, by the way. I'm all for it. Could it? It definitely can if all these things culminate like some people predict, like, you know, like you got the domino theory and all that. If you haven't looked into that, it's definitely an interesting theory. Will it play out exactly like that, like some people think it will? I don't know. It's kind of sink or swim right now with the oil crisis going on, and if oil goes to $200 a barrel, which is, you know, some people are saying it might, you know, a lot of the global reserves for oil are actually being depleted. Funny thing is even in Canada, it's like we have some of the most oil in the world, and we don't even have an oil reserve, right? It doesn't make any sense to me. It makes 0 sense. I don't know why. I don't know why. It makes no sense. But so I mean, if oil keeps going on the rise, and, you know, gold took a bit of a tumble, silver's starting to take a bit of a tumble, markets are starting to get, you know, liquidity shifting is what I'm trying to say. Liquidity seems to be shifting, right? And is liquidity going to be shifting back into this asset class? I think so. So it's now or never. I think it's time to just get in there and start paying attention to these small little details, right? You know, throwing a little bit of onions in the soup here, throwing a little bit of garlic in the soup here. Actually, don't ask me how to make a soup. I'm not a good soup maker. I do like Super Discana though. That's like my all-time favorite. I don't know if anybody likes that. If you like Super Discana, just throw a thumbs up for me. But look, it's you know, a great thing to do before these assets appreciate is to set up your estate and set yourself up in a way where you can experience the full benefits, where you're not having to pay out so much in taxes, pay out so much in everything. Because, like, let's say, you know, you got 50 grand, $10,000, whatever you got in there. Let's say it goes to your portfolio, goes to $1 million, right? And you're like, yippee, I'm gonna sell now. Okay, great. You know, there's nothing wrong with ever selling and take in a profit, right? So don't be afraid to sell into a profit. But if you sell, you have $1 million, right? $1 million, and you sell it, and now what's your tax rate going to be on that, right? Well, it depends kind of where you bought it. Now, this isn't tax advice. You know, talk to your CPA and, you know, figure it out for yourself what the best thing to do is, right? But if you sell and you haven't had, it's not long-term capital gains yet, you haven't held it for longer than a year, then, you know, you're going to be taxed at your income level, right? And it's most likely at that point going to be around like whatever, 35-40%, right? So there goes $400,000. Now, maybe you do a little structured a little bit better. You held a little longer. You got into this space a little while ago. Well, it's going to be a little bit less than that because, you know, it's just going to be whatever it might be, 20% or something, depending where you live and whatnot. But, you know, there's ways where you can set yourself up so you can maybe mitigate some of that tax, right? And what we suggest people to do is get yourself set up in an LLC, right? So now you know it's better to have control rather than ownership, because that way you're just separating yourself, right? So now you have this limited liability company, and you can keep all your assets in there, and when it appreciates, well, now you can decide, oh, what am I going to do for my financial asset holding company, right? Where do I want to put some things? Maybe you need to buy yourself a vehicle to go look at some properties, wherever you want to reinvest that money into, right? And then that you can use that as a tax write-off, right? So you're saving yourself. You're not going to mitigate all taxes. You're going to have to pay tax. It's a pass-through entity, but there's ways to structure it, right? And that's something that once it's set up, you can talk to your CPA and your attorneys to try to figure out the best way for you, so that you're not spending a whole bunch of money to the man when you don't need to, right? There's no point in doing that. Plus, you get that the limited liability protection, right? If say God forbid something happens that you don't know about, you get into an accident and somebody sues you, right? Well, they're suing you personally, right? And it keeps your assets held away from personal liability, right? So it's a lot more difficult. Doesn't mean it's it doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's a lot more difficult for anyone to actually get access to your assets in a limited liability company. So anyways, here at Exponential Group, we provide people with that service for filing. So if that's something that you're interested in, we do it for $900, and you can follow the link below in the description, and just follow that link, and you can get yourself set up with a special operated agreement that is designed for holding digital assets. So go check it out, see it. And if you guys are in the Exponential Mastermind, I mean, not sure what you're doing, but there are amazing opportunities going on in there for people in the group, and just amazing people that are just learning, growing. We host a weekly panel every Monday, so you can get in there and start chatting. And those of you that know Digital Outlook, he's in there. So I think you guys should definitely join. That's in there. So check us out. I'd love to see you in there. I'd love to chat with you guys and get your perspective on what's going on. And we host weekly Q&As, live Q&As. So if you have any questions that you want to ask some of the pros, they're there, right? So stuff is happening. I'm excited. You guys should be excited too. Be blessed, and I'm going to catch you in the next one.